Hey folks, it's Sydney from LangChain. I'm super excited to chat with you today about how to choose a multi-agent architecture. First, I would actually like to caution you, you might not actually need a multi-agent pattern for your system. Many agentic tasks are actually best handled by a single agent with well-designed tools. That being said, when your tasks are increasingly complex, multi-agent might be the way to go. So let's dive into chatting about our scoring criteria for different architectures. So we have 4 criteria here. The first is distributed development, which is exactly what it sounds like. Can different teams maintain different components or agents independently based on their specialties? The second is parallelization. Can you execute multiple agents at the same time? The third is multi-hop conversational support. So does the architecture support calling multiple subagents in series with the context from previous calls? And the final criteria is direct user interaction. So the question here is, can subagents converse directly with the user? So our first pattern that we're going to look at is subagents, often also called the supervisor pattern. And in this pattern, a main supervisor agent coordinates subagents as tools. All of the message routing passes through the main agent, which decides how and when to invoke each subagent. Now we can talk about how this architecture kind of scores along those different criteria lines. So we actually give distributed development here a 5 out of 5. The subagents architecture is great when these different subagents managed as tools are managed across teams. The subagents architecture also does quite well with parallelization. Agents support parallel tool calling, and thus you can invoke your subagents in parallel. Multi-hop conversations are also easy to organize here. This just requires multiple cycles of the model and tool calling loop. Finally, direct user interaction is definitely where the subagents architecture falls short. With LangChain's architecture, you can technically achieve direct user interaction via interrupts in your subagents, but there's no easy way for users to interact directly with subagents. Our next architecture is the handoffs pattern. In the handoffs pattern, agents can use tool calling to hand off control to other agents. And you can see that in the diagram here. The user request is sent to the entry point agent, which is agent A, and then all of agents A, B, and C have the power to hand off to one another, and then also to generate a final response. Distributed development is one of the weak points of the handoffs architecture. It's a bit difficult to develop agents independently that need capabilities to hand off to each other. Parallelization is also not a specialty of the handoffs architecture, but the handoffs architecture is particularly great for multi-hop conversations and direct user interaction. In fact, this is probably the best architecture to choose if you are looking to have those two features. Our third architecture, which is sort of a quasi-multi-agent architecture, is support for skills. So skills are specialized prompts and knowledge that are loaded on demand. A single agent stays in control while loading context from skills as needed. This is a practice called progressive disclosure, and it's becoming increasingly more popular as a context management strategy. The skills architecture scores quite high on the distributed development front. Different teams can manage different skills based on their specialties. We score a 3 out of 5 here on the parallelization front. Even though you can load multiple skills in parallel and call multiple skills in parallel, it's kind of a 2-step process, and so that's why we don't give it that 5 out of 5. You can certainly have multiple calls in series to the subagents, aka skills here, so multi-hop scores at 5 out of 5, and then direct user interaction is also a 5 out of 5. Again, we really just have that one core agent that the user can easily interact directly with. Our final architecture is the router architecture. In this one, a routing step classifies input and directs it to one or more specialized agents, and then results are synthesized into a combined response. And both the router and synthesizer steps here can be agentic, but they also don't have to be. They could be more deterministic. We score distributed development for this case at a 3 out of 5, just because there's no standard protocol for the agents, unlike in the subagents protocol or the skill protocol, where you can use tools or skills as standard protocols. It's a little bit harder to standardize here. So certainly possible to do distributed development, but not quite as easy. We do, though, score parallelization at a 5 out of 5 here. The router can invoke multiple subagents in parallel or just one at a time. Multi-hop, we've scored at a 0 out of 5 here. The main point of support for multi-hop is that you can have multiple invocations of an agent in series, which is not super feasible with this architecture. You can have stateful routers, but it's much more difficult to manage. We actually recommend, and you can check out our new docs on this, if you do want a stateful router, that you just wrap your router in a tool. Finally, we scored direct interaction with the user at a 3 out of 5. As you can see, there's router and synthesizer steps on either side of the agent invocation, so this isn't as direct as the interaction that we see in some of our other architectures. Putting this all together, we're sort of using the 5-star scale here. Here's a table summarizing all of our results, and you can also check out our newly rolled out multi-agent docs to learn more about these comparisons. Again, I would say that probably the most important thing here is to start simple, so start with a single agent and build up from there as your problem gets more complex. Thanks, folks.